Hello, friends. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and welcome to this Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPGs. Woohoo! Hope you're doing well, friends. Sorry, I had to change the music because it was a very dramatic. I was like, yes, adventure awaits, huzzah! And I was like, oh, it's a little bit too much. So hopefully it's not drowning things out. So I just went for a nice, more gentle pitter-patter. Turn up a little bit. There we go. How are we doing, friends? How are we doing? Yes, this is a Too Long Didn't Read a TTRPG accountability reading stream. Hello, Kira. Nice to have you in the chat. This is a stream in which I read like an RPG from the randomly selected number generator that I have, either from the Bookshelf of Doom or from the Google Drive of Mystery. I tell you, I got. So I'm just trying to grab my cup of tea so it's closer to me. I was very excited the other day because I got 2 books. I've mentioned it on various socials. I got The Electric State. I'm going to pick it up right now. It's just a little bit out of my reach. No, don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. I got this, The Electric State, which is a nice. It's not a big book compared to some other Free League books, but I just love that cover. Really love the cover. I think it's just really good. Sorry, I keep looking into the wrong camera. I love the cover. I also got She's Here on This Desk, for the Queen, finally. So those are 2 more RPGs that I'm going to be looking at some point. And I do want to do The Electric State as an RPG, like Too Long Didn't Read RPG at some point, because I think it'll be very interesting. But I hope you're all doing well, friends. I hope everything's going all right your way. Busy morning for me, as always. Just trying to basically get my rubbish together, put it together in a nice needy pile. And of course I sat here for most of it going, I need to do this, and then doing it and go, oh, and this. So it's very typical. So I'm glad I'm going to have a little bit of a break from brainy stuff, and we're just going to look at some TTRPGs, which I'm very excited about. So today, friends, we are looking at a very interesting RPG. It is a tabletop role-playing game inspired by fantasy video games and anime. It is Break! All the capitals with 2 exclamation points, which I'm very excited to do. I put a link to it in the chat. I supported this on the Kickstarter when it came out. It's created by, it's published by someone called Grey Wizard, or a publishing group called Grey Wizard. And it says, an easy-to-play game of exploration and teamwork set in a wonderfully dangerous outer world. So we'll see how you probably will recognise some of the imagery. I definitely seem to remember it had a very big sort of like social media push because of the artwork and stuff. It reminds me, looking at it just briefly now, it reminds me a little bit of like maybe Digimon, maybe a little bit of maybe a tiny bit of Studio Ghibli, fantasy creatures. You can play lots of different things, etc. A little bit of Final Fantasy actually as well. Now that I think about it, but yeah, I have no idea about this RPG at all. Again, it was given to me. It was suggested to me by my random number generator, and we'll just go straight into it. So as always, before we begin this stream, we're going to look at, this is the structure of the stream, we're going to look at the copy of it, where we can find it just now, and then go into the actual PDF itself. This PDF particularly we're looking at the core books. I didn't want to look at the beta preview per se, because it's not the same thing as a quick start, although no doubt now, as I look down, there'll probably be a quick start available somewhere. Download some sample pages, not the same thing, I don't think. So we're going to look at the full rule book for this, which you can get as a PDF on the back of it. Again, I'll show you where you can get that if you want to have a look at it. You can actually see me scrolling through the Kickstarter in my things there. That's quite funny. So we're looking at it from that point of view, in terms of like the marketing, and then going into it a little bit. It's like I said, it's about just under 400 pages. We're not going to be looking at all 400 pages because again, it's its own setting. It's got like various bits of lore and stuff like that, which again, if you find this game interesting, I'm sure you can do that in your own time. We're going to spend about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, just looking through it all. My main aim is to sort of look at what the unique mechanics is and why we should play this game over all these other amazing RPGs that are out there. So that's the plan. So we go through that. As always, we look at accessibility stuff. What do we like about it? What can we improve about it? And what would help us play this game more? If we're doing it remotely or digitally, because that's what my main look through these things are. I don't get the physical books anymore. I get the PDFs. A mixture because they are slightly cheaper, but also I've got so many books that I never look at. So why not just get a cheaper PDF and that I never look at either? So that's the thing. As always, I'm not a game designer. I've not been sponsored to do this. I'm just someone who plays a lot of games and runs a lot of games. And I just feel like I have an idea of like what I would like, and I love finding out about new systems. I think it's just a way of doing A, research, and B, learning more stuff about the TTRPG industry. And content warnings. I am not sure what kind of content warnings we're going to come up from this. It seems like fantasy adventure, but maybe a bit more family friendly than some of the previous RPGs that we've looked at recently. But if anything should come up, I'll be sure to like try and spot it as quickly as I can and make a note. As always, take a step back from the stream as you need to. There's nothing worse than having to listen to me drone on and on about an RPG that you're not finding interesting or comfortable with. So there you go. All right, with all that out of the way, friends, I haven't got my contact lenses in, so apologies if I look like I'm trying to find things. But okay, we're gonna go to the game stream in 3, 2, 1. There we go! Hooray! So yeah, so currently you can only get a copy of Break by through the pre-order, but it's going to go to the backer kit, no doubt. And you can get a PDF here, so it's roughly £20, but it could also be, I think $25, etc. So you can't currently get a physical copy of this book, as far as I'm aware. Oh, Kieran says, notice in the Kickstarter there's a paragraph encouraging parents to play with their children. Glad to see that, but I'm not seeing any detail about what the challenging themes it references actually are, which is a shame. Yes, I know, Kieran, that is something you're very hot on, and it's something I absolutely agree with. It's to put up for first and foremost what the contents of this thing are, just as ways that even just as touchstones. If I said to someone, "Oh, it's a pastoral folk horror game," think like The Village or anything like that, and I know like The Village is like Midnight Shyamalan, so there's going to be twists, there's going to be horror, there's going to be gore. So it's just, yeah, again, something like that just to give us a good idea of what we're looking at, but also just be saying like it's horror, it's this, and what are the challenging themes. So yeah, absolutely agree with you on that. As you can see, that's what I was meaning about the sort of illustrations. I really like it. I think it's quite cute. I do think it is more family friendly, as you were sort of saying, Kieran, looking through it. I think it's encouraging parents to like, hey, get in, maybe again, touching on what do kids really enjoy in sort of today's anime stuff. Obviously, there's a whole range of different animes and stuff. And yes, this reminds me of various ones that I watched when I was a kid, like, I'm trying to think ones that aren't horror. But yeah, and like I'm thinking of, like Digimon and Pokemon and that sort of like vibe of like different creatures traveling. Like I said Final Fantasy, I know there's like Fabula Ultimum that we looked at previously. That's it, journeying together. That's what it seems to be. It's a game of exploration and teamwork, it says up here. So there you go. Oh, hello, Fancy Alice. Ooh, tickles. Sorry, she was licking my feet. So yeah, roughly about, well, it says 470 colour pages. I don't know if it's that big, but if so, yeah. And you can see just a quick glance of it. Always incredible, like creatures you can see. Again, it feels very video gamey. Like I'm thinking of like Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy, that sort of thing. The different sort of creatures you would see. I love this. I love the different artwork. That's pretty cool. So it does feel like a really big like adventure awaits and gets people very, very excited. So what does it say here? Like again, I will say, and I know that the Kickstarter platform maybe isn't accessible, but it's taken like 1, 2, 3, 4 big images before we get to actually talking what the content is, and then it does it in bullet points, which I bloody hate. I understand why we do bullet points, but if you're introducing something, I don't give me as bullet points. So Break is a tabletop role-playing game of exploration and adventure. Full stop. Break's setting and aesthetics are inspired by classic anime and SNES era video games, along with wistful fantasy novels and movies. Great. I like that sort of like tagline. Give us examples of what you mean by that. Break is a 470-page full colour book loaded with diagrams and infographics to make learning and playing the game as fast and fun as possible. I mean, under 500 pages doesn't feel like it's as fast and fun, I'll be honest. And it's already ready to ship. And he's like, okay, I don't know, it just feels, it's very much like this is the brief we're giving you as a presentation. It doesn't feel like the copy here has been very good. As an example, what are you doing, Fancy Alice? I can see you over there. Who is it for? So new TTRPG players. So yeah, so for those people who are into a Japanese role-playing game. So again, that's what I was saying before about that Fabulum Ultimum that's in the same sort of realm as those things. 5e players provides a familiar yet clean and modern rule set for those looking for a new place to have their fantasy fun. Is it going to be a 5th edition sort of knockoff? Possibly. Gaming parents. Some challenging themes and arts which will engage older children, but parental discretion is advised. And an old school player possesses many features that make old school style of play so much fun. Just a little bit less grimdark. These include problem solving focus, 0 to hero progression, quick procedures, and modular systems. And there you can see we've got some examples there. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit in this image. No, can't see anything. So what have we got? Oh, we've got Zelda, of course. We've got various Zelda games there. Oh, look, there's Delicious and Dungeon. As I can see the image up there. Will we have some cooking stuff? That's quite cool. Yeah, we've got some Dungeons and Dragons, Nautica as well. So yeah, so there's the influences and inspiration. But it looks like a lot of these inspirations. I'm gonna do the old person thing. Zoom in. Yeah, I would assume that Dungeons and Dragons is the only rule system there. So maybe it is just going to be the SRD document for that. Fair enough. I mean, like the image, like it's beautifully laid out. Don't get me wrong, a beautiful book. That's what people take to you. And look, you got character creation. This is something I saw whilst I was looking through, like having a quick look. There's a lot on character creation. There's about the first 200 pages of this is character creation, but like all the stuff you can do. But what I do love is that they have not only a mixture of like what people look like, but like different like side profiles and like what people look like. So it feels like an artistic like art thing, and again fits into that vibe of like, you know, people doing art for Final Fantasy, for Devil May Cry, you know, all that sort of thing where we see different things. You can see a Ghibli version there of this individual as well in this particular image. But again, no artwork. Look how pretty this is. Like again, all the different kinds of character classes here as well. Create a character in as little as 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, straightforward enough. Again, like I said, I'm not necessarily going to look at character creation too much. I'm going to look at the process of doing so, maybe look at 1 or 2 lineages or whatnot, but again, we're not going to go into it too deeply because I want to find out what the mechanic is, you know. Got some nice images there. Oh, look at that sizing. Colossal. Oh, as a rules overview, let's have a quick look. The break rules will be familiar to anyone who's slung a d20 before. Do people sling d20s? I roll mine. But they have been streamlined to make it easy to pick up for new players. There are simple rules for journeys, exploration, negotiation, fights, downtime, and crafting. Oh, we've got some crafting rules, okay. These rules create a unique experience for each separate activity. Break only needs a d20. So it feels very much like Quest in a way. Quest by Adventure Guild. Aptitudes, ability scores are set by your calling, your class. Oh, I like it's called calling. I do like that. Not rolled, but you can tweak them with your traits. Okay, so we're just not, you know, everything is already set up for us. Experience points are awarded for rank advancements, so that's leveling. And simple roll under aptitude tests are used to resolve the outcome in most situations. Skill checks and saves. So it's a roll under thing rather than roll over. Interesting. Interesting. A point crawl overland travel system helps avoid aimless wandering. And social bonds and reputations give your actions a meaningful in-game consequences. Oh, hang on. Wait. Social bonds and reputations give your actions and meaningful in-game consequences. Okay, that needs some copy editing there. Kieran says, after too many dice-shaped holes in my walls, I've now put up a safety net leading to a funnel tower whenever I sling d20s. It feels like, oh, what's it called? We have cornhole here in the US where you do an over like underhand throw, have that arc and he has to go in a hole or close to it. I just feel it's the same thing. We go, oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad you've safety first there, Kieran. You know, I hope your walls haven't done anything to your house insurance. All right, I think we've got a good vibe of what this is. Yeah, let's just get diving straight into it. And as always, feel free in the chat to say if I've said anything wrong. I'm going to pronounce names wrong as always in this. I do find the name Break a very interesting name. Why is it called that? I didn't see anything indicating what that would be. Is it something to do with like it's inspired from something? It seems like a very odd name. I'm just trying to say, Outer World is what it's called. A wondrous and deadly playground. Is that has a post-apocalyptic fantasy setting full of derelict megastructures, shambling war machines, and nature warped by magical pollution. Oh, so a little bit like Horizon Zero Dawn as well, but obviously with a more anime side to it. The sun machine is broken, bathing half a planet in light and casting the other into shadow. Enough setting detail is provided to excite players and inspire GMs, but not so much to make it difficult to build in your own group's preference and ideas. A brief history to provide gameable legend and myth to connect your adventures to. Okay, and then we've got some themes there. Wistful Dark, Twilight Meridian. These are... Wait, hang on. Blazing Garden and Buried Kingdoms. Themed regions. There we go. Yeah, so it does feel very what's the word? Zelda, doesn't it? A little bit, or even any SNES games, which is or Pokemon as well. Pokemon getting you to different regions as well. God, I miss Lavender Town. All right, let's mosey on over. Oh, I was going to go to a different book then. That's not what's going to happen. All right, let's say goodbye. Isn't Limit Break like super, like the super? Hang on. Isn't Limit Break like the super moves in Final Fantasy? Just riffing off that, you're probably right. You're probably right. Again, I will say this: I haven't really played too much Final Fantasy. I've seen bits. I've seen that bit where people laugh really hard in Final Fantasy. I want to say, is it 10? I've got the remake of 7. I played a little bit of 7 and I really enjoyed it, but I knew I was gonna get sad. So yeah, you're probably right. That's probably where it's Limit Break, but I assumed it would say it somewhere on the copy because people like me are very dim about these things. Not so bright when it comes to it. All right, let me get rid of Chrome. Say goodbye, Chrome, and let's look at the cover. So yeah, I like how we've got a whole different range of folks on the cover that sort of describe a whole different sort of sense of adventure. We've got someone who's excited at the forefront, maybe the leader of the party. We've got this individual here, which reminds me of there's the small childlike character in Howl's Moving Castle who has to pretend to be an old man. Well, of course, we've got a cat. You have a cat. You have sort of a bigger, sort of bruiser type character, always eating, and then we've got clearly some sort of nerd that's come along for the journey, in a very beautiful sort of like blue sky, grassy area. Again, I just keep thinking of that first Pokemon movie, and then Break. I like the I do like the font styling for it because again, it has that sort of break. And yeah, maybe that's what it is. You know what? You're probably right. That idea of the manga sort of like noises and stuff like that. Maybe that's what it's trying to do. And those video games, when you're doing those punching things, it's like, bam, wow, etc. But doing it in those sort of the stylings and the vibes of those Japanese TTRPG video games. No, not TTRPG. It's Japanese role-playing games, not TTRPG. So there you go. And we've got, presumably, the writers' names or the producers, the publishers on the front here as well, the cool rules. Again, I kind of like what they've done. Like, it's not like a full-on color cover, but we have that we have that sort of like spacing for it. I guess it's a little bit different. I don't know. I guess I don't know why they've done that and then not filled the space here. Maybe there was going to be something else here. But yeah, we've got 3 symbols here. Okay, presumably you know 2 or more players, ages 12 and above. Is it just like you just need 1d6, 1d20? I don't know, or maybe it's a role-playing game. I'm not sure what this symbol indicates. But as always, there is no alt text, so sad times for us. And then we just go straight into the contents. There's no page of like credits or anything like that. So you can see what I mean when I say character creation. Like, look at all this. We have in total 6 big steps, and then we've got gear, and we've got character rank, etc. And then we got to playing the game itself. So that's big chapter 2. So you see, like, over 200 pages to do with character creation. Oh God, it's fine. It's just one of those things. And we've got the outer world, so what the setting is, the game master's guide, adversaries, and then 6 minutes. We've got 6 big chapters essentially. And yeah, roughly about 475 pages. It says on my thing here. I quite like the layout of it. I like that the headings are in different colours. I do like how it has break and I like the circle around the oh, you guys can't necessarily see it. I'll move it a little bit. Again, I'm just looking over the layout of it. It's easy to read, I think. What is interesting is that you'll notice, so the number pages, those are hyperlinked. The actual text itself, so if I wanted to go to the sneak or the champion, it's not hyperlinked, but the numbers are. And I don't know. I understand why they do that. I can imagine people just go, oh yeah, this, and click on the numbers. But I've always been that person who goes, oh yeah, Murder Princess. Tag yourself, I'm the Murder Princess. So yeah, so that's the only thing. So there is hyperlinks in it, but you just have to pick on the numbers. I only found that out when I was doing it. So my plan today is to do the welcome. I think I'd like to look through the character creation, but we're not going to go through the individual thing, because that's what pages 12 to 147. So that's like it's over 130-ish pages of stuff. And actually, each individual, like, there's a lot for each, like, of the callings. There's quite a lot, like sneak and champion. So sneak's about 6 pages. Yeah, 6 pages each, or 8 pages depending on which one you're looking at. There's 10 for the sage there. and 12 for the heretics. So maybe just out of it, probably some full art images as well, wouldn't there? And then the same for the species. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the word species. I think people have latched onto it because they don't want to use the word race. And I understand not using the word race, don't get me wrong. But in my head, I actually like lineages or ancestry. I think that makes sense. Species, I don't know. It feels a bit ugh to me. I don't know. I still have a bit of an ick about it myself. But again, each to their own. Homeland and history. Oh, that's cool. So each of the individual regions, those themed regions we see, they've got like a history table. And then traits, which is only 2. That's interesting. There's only 2 pages for traits. Maybe it's going to be like one big table. Then we've got quirks, which are divided up into spiritual, physiological, fate, eldritch, and robotic quirks. And then some finishing details, presumably like name, pronouns, etc., look. And then a whole bunch on gear. Like, how long is gear? Sorry, just looking at it. That's, God, 50 pages on gear. And then the rank stuff as well. And then playing the game. So yeah, my plan is, welcome. We'll look at the bit about character creation, and then I want to go straight into playing the game. So I want to know like exactly what is the mechanics for it. So that's the main thing we're going to check our time on today. As you can see, there is, it said we had individual stuff for each individual rule. So you can see here, like nearly, oh man, 80 pages worth of like stuff. I think we might just look at the beginning bits and maybe crafting. I want to see what crafting is perhaps, but it's giving rules systems for everything. Kieran says, I also prefer lineage or ancestry. I also prefer lineage or ancestry. They feel cultural to me, while species feels genetic. You've absolutely nailed it on the head there, Kieran. I completely agree with you. And then yeah, that is it. Oh, interesting. So at the back here we've got the appendix. We've got a character sheet of what it looks like. Yeah, I don't think I got a character sheet with my download of this, but maybe you do if you get the. I don't know. I might have it somewhere, to be fair. There's a filled in one, so you can have a look at exactly what there is, and we've got some cheat sheets at the back. Excellent. I'm a big fan of having cheat sheets. All right, well, let's just get diving in, shall we? So yeah, so welcome, character creation. That's fast part, and then we'll just go straight to page 210 and look at the game basics, and then go from there, and we'll see how much we can get done in an hour or so. All right, and I will also zoom in as well. Oh, that's a nice image, isn't it? It's a shame there's no alt text. And look at this at the top. I quite like this. Oh, that's quite interesting. It's also a hyperlink. So we've got each section, each of the 6 chapters it has here is at the top. And presumably as we go through, it will be like highlighted to show this is what chapter you're in. I really like that. I'm a big fan of seeing that. Often you have it at the side. I'm thinking of Pathfinder has it at the side. And I guess because you're rifling it through here. But I kind of like it as at the top for digital. But we will see, huh? Oh, hello, Millie the GM. How are you, my friend? They say, I always worry when the character creation is so in-depth. Will this remove the danger? Will this remove the danger in play if your character starts with that level of detail? What's to discover in the game? That is so true. That is absolutely true. I mean, as exactly. Gosh, come on, what's going on? I'm just going to say, let's go back to it. Yeah, it's just maybe it's because it's trying to fit it into that setting a little bit, but I agree. I'm just like a big fan of randomly rolling and hoping for the best, especially when a lot of the stats it was saying before, like you don't need to roll for them. It's already it's already computed. You just tweak it a little bit with some of the traits and stuff. So, and it's just a d20 roll. So why do you need so much detail? Especially if this is a game that's probably aimed at families and aimed at a younger age group, perhaps. I don't know. Like I've discovered talking to small children, as one does. Like I had we had a family event a couple of months ago now, and we had one of my partner's much younger cousins, about 12 or whatever, and they found out that I played role-playing games and this stuff, and they started telling me, as they always do, about their campaign and how they had just homebrewed everything, character classes, all that sort of thing. And it just sounded, I'll be honest, it sounded chaotic, and it sounded like, how do you even get anything done? But that's what they liked. They liked making broken characters, and it wasn't so much about, oh, this big backstory per se. They just wanted to play silly little guys, silly little goblins, you know, that sort of thing where you're like chaos characters. So giving them so much to bounce off of, they might be like, nah, I'm good. I want to be a tree, you know, that sort of vibe. Anyway, let's just get started, shall we? So, I'm never a big fan of the 2-column thing, but I do like how again, I know this sounds really silly. They've got two headings here to break up like where it goes over, and they've actually got like a background to the headings. Normally they don't when they have two columns, and actually I quite like that. It feels like, oh yeah, all of this is underneath here. Which I know sounds very silly, but yeah. Anyway, sorry. Break is a tabletop role-playing game of exploration and adventure set in the fantasy realm of Outer World, a place of wonder and peril. What is this game about? So, Outer World is broken. Most struggle to survive, huddling together in the ruins of the past. Will you protect or abandon them? Some pockets of civilization remain. Their leaders seek to shape the future. Will you help or hinder them? Forgotten knowledge and lost treasures are rumored to have the power to change the status quo. Will you wield them wisely? Oh, that's quite. Wait, why has it got numbers here and numbers there? What's that? Influential heroes and villains roam the land, leaving a wake of irrevocable change behind them. Will you survive long enough to become one of them? What? And what is a role-playing game? As always, you bring a fantasy world to life and create brave adventures to explore it with. One person takes on the role of the game master, so we don't get a cool name. Okay, that's fine. They devise and present challenges and situations to the players. For example, a town might be destroyed if the source of the corruptive mana is not found and stopped. Other players assume the role of player characters, PCs. Sad times. For example, these might be warriors, wizards, or other adventurous figures. They must use their wits and their characters' abilities to overcome or circumvent the game master's challenges. Okay, this is a very, very small point. Why do we need circumvent in there? Like, overcome clarifies what that is. I hate words like, because this is something that I used to do, thinking that it's a big thing to do, is like overcome or circumvent or break down the GM. It's like just use. Like, I feel like that's a superfluous thing. You just overcome the game master's challenges. You don't need circumvent. That's my previous job as someone who used to edit academics' work. When the PCs or other characters in the game world attempt to do something risky, they roll dice to determine whether they succeed or fail. The likelihood of success depends on the chosen course of action and the character's skill or competency. Again, competency, character skill. Yeah. Gameplay. So in Break, the players take on the role of the adventurous, plucky souls that roam Outer World in search of truth and treasure. I do think Outer World is a bit of a rubbish name for this setting. I'm going to be completely honest. It makes me think of Outer Wilds, which is very sci-fi. As an adventurer, you will journey across shattered landscapes, explore the world's ancient ruins and wonders of the modern age, encounter and interact with Outer World's many unusual inhabitants, negotiate or fight with monstrous or cunning adversaries, survive and endure Outer World's many perils and challenges, craft items both magical and mechanical. Create social bonds with friends you meet along the way. Attempt to rise through the adventuring ranks to become a legend. Experience the wonder, humor, tragedy, and triumph of adventuring. So these are almost like player principles, which I think is always good to have. There's quite a number of these things here. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. Yeah, I don't know about Outer World. Here we go. So, Inspiration to Break is a love letter to the worlds and themes depicted in manga, anime, and video games. Thanks to all the creators who fueled our imaginations and ambitions. Influences include, we've got Godslayer, got magazines, Final Fantasy, there we go, Zelda, there we go. Studio Ghibli, I'm just trying to see, Last Unicorn, Wizards, classic Disney, there's classic Disney. Oh, the Once and Future King, the Earthsea series, oh yeah, I can see that as well. Teenagers from Outer Space, old school hack. Oh, interesting. I see. That's the thing. Wait, other RPGs. Where's the D&D in that? You claim D&D, and you've not brought it in here. Stormbringer RPG. Oh, that was in the little thing. I had not heard that one. Maid is an interesting choice. I've never read Maid. One thing I do want to say. I remember I was at MCM Comic Con, and I was advertising and promoting my podcast as one does. And I normally go to, so what's your favourite RPG? And I asked a gentleman what their favourite RPG was, and he looked at me, proper laughed, and said, oh, it's Maid RPG. And I was like, oh, I haven't heard of that one. He then proceeded to explain to me what that RPG was, and I was like, No, thank you. It's definitely a certain type of people to play the made RPG. I looked it up afterwards, and yeah, it's just not my sort of thing to be honest. But that's interesting. It's put in there. I wouldn't necessarily think it's family friendly, but that's just off to me. Kieran says, as a reader, if I see something superfluous like that, I often switch off. Not because I'm not interested, but because I assume the two words must mean different things, and I get distracted by trying to work out what the difference is. Exactly. Like, for example, here, negotiate or fight with monstrous or cunning and adversaries. Again, negotiate or fight, those are two different things. Absolutely. Monstrous or cunning adversaries. I think just adversaries works here, right? Or just cunning. You don't need monstrous in there, necessarily. Like, I'm sure there's all these sorts of unusual lineages that we can find here, or monsters. So villains as well. Adversaries is what they're called here. Blogosphere. It's the entire community of wonderfully talented... Oh, you guys can't see that. Move it back. Oh no, stop it. Hang on. Adobe Reader. Oh, it's because I'm looking at the wrong thing. There we go. Of wonderfully talented and generous designers, artists, and enthusiasts. Of what? Is blogosphere like is this going to be? I'm going to sound incredibly old. Is that a thing that I should know about? Is that like a Reddit forum or something like that, or a place where people can go and appreciate the top 4 headings, or is that just people in general? Because I don't know what that is, and there's no link to it. Gaming grognard? You're already familiar with RPGs and related gaming jargon. Here's a quick system overview. Great, I like that. Only uses a d20. Aptitudes, ability scores are not rolled randomly but set by your calling, your class. Experience points are awarded for rank level advancement. Roll under aptitude tests, saving throws, and skill checks. Point crawl overland travel system. I don't really know what that word means. Tactical turn-based combat. Yep. Roll over enemy's defense rating AC to hit. Okay, so we're still rolling over in some cases. Weapons do not set. Do set, not random damage. Yep, big fan of that. That's what I assumed it would be. Hearts or hit points reset every fight. See, I like that. Saying hearts instead of hit points. I think that's nice. Lasting injuries occur after your hearts are depleted and need to be healed. Also, sorry, I realised hearts are reset after every fight. Interesting. Scenario, not story-based adventures. Okay, so maybe you just have set number of scenarios going through rather than a long, wandering campaign, perhaps. Random encounters with mood rolls. Reaction. A mood roll? Success is determined by the player's situational decision-making and calculated risk. GMs should read this book through prior to playing Break to familiarise themselves with the entire game. Games runs most smoothly if the GM is able to easily recall information included in the playing the game section. Does that link to it? Yes, it does. Nice. Other content is less likely to be required during play and can be referenced before or during the game. Cheat sheets are included in the appendices that condense all the frequently referenced rules and information in one place. And we can join the community, access new content, and find other players at breakrpg.com. Okay, nice. I don't like changing roll under to roll over for different things. Well, that's you literally again. I was like, why? surely you roll to dodge rather than roll to hit. In that case, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either, because as soon as you introduce 2 different mechanics that mean different things, people are just going to switch off, all thinking, oh, it's just like D&D. Okay. Oh, it doesn't seem to be... Oh, I was going to say, this doesn't seem to be an image there. Oh, I like that. Okay, I do like having like a page like that and having this little symbol saying like chapter 1. I like the break stuff there. I don't like the GM being rule dispensers either. I'm pretty negative today. No, not at all, Millie. Trust me, this is the reason why we go through this. Is like, would you run this game? You know, what is it that appeals to you about this game, or anyone? Because this got funded. This did really well on Kickstarter. But is it a game that it looks pretty but has no substance, or is there something there? And I think it's very important to look at these things, as you said. So please don't be negative. I'm forever being critical as well. So I agree. The rules dispensing stuff, not a fan either. All right. Oh, look at these. Oh, these great images there, aren't they great? So there you go. See, at the top, it's got it in coloured there. So we've got character creation. So creating a character. Adventurers have a special affinity with mana, which enables them to attain magical or martial mastery, which they would normally require a lifetime of dedication. These creatures. It's just a shame there's no alt text to describe them. Oh. There are 6 steps for creating a player character, a PC. Make sure you folks can see it. There we go. But yeah, also, what do these numbers mean here on the side? You see there's like, hang on. Let me move it over across. So we have the actual page number at the bottom in the circle, but then we have these numbers in D20s, but it's like 15, 7, 10. And if I click through the previous pages, sorry, there's not one there, and it wasn't. There's one here, 20, 15. Oh, you know what it's going to be? I've had a thought. Is it one of those things where it's like like a random number generator, and so like, oh, you need to flick through the book and stop on a page, and where your finger is, that's the number you use. Because I know some choose your own adventure books, if you don't have a die or anything like that, it does that. Maybe that's what it is. Is it paper dice? Yeah, exactly right. I think you're right, Millie. I've just clocked that as well. But I mean, weird it's not been mentioned yet. Presumably it will be mentioned at some point, but that's such a weird thing, because I'm just like, oh, is it page numbers? So also it's not on every page either. It wasn't on those previous pages. It wasn't on the previous page for the heading. So anyway, enough of me whittling on. So there are 6 steps for creating a player character PC. Each step defines more about your character and provides them with skills and abilities they'll be able to use in the game. Your character has a big impact on how you approach the game's challenges. If you're a wily witch, you'll use magic to sidestep an obstacle, but as a beastly barbarian, you'll apply brute force. To create a PC, you will need about 15 minutes or less. A break character sheet, or another less awesome piece of paper. Incredible. Imagine having the audacity to say that. It's like, also, I don't know. I think that's quite funny, but in my head, I was like, that's a waste of words. Unless you're going to be have that a wry tone throughout. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a waste of words there. A pencil or eraser, so record an information go, and a 20-sided dice or any random number generator set to a range of 1 to 20. So yeah, why have these numbers on the side? Oh, I love this. Hang on. Oh, I see what they've done. So they've moved it to the side now, that way you check things through. As creating a character, and it's in, oh, that's quite nice. I like that, going through it. But hang on, zoom out a little bit so people can see. Again, a very clear, maybe a little bit boring, perhaps, flow diagram of the different steps, but that's so clear, though. I like that. I like the clearness of it. And then we've got some end there as well. All right, let's zoom in a little bit and have a read. Whoa. Okay, so select your calling. Your calling determines the focus of your core abilities, so magic, combat, stealth, and therefore what in-game strategies will work best for you. And then it's got a little link here to say callings. I like that. Step 2, select your species. Your species determines your physical appearance, e.g. size, shape, coloration, but also grants you extra biological or psychological abilities. Okay. Step 3, select your homeland and history. I do like the homeland and history as a grouping of the two words, like background, The life you had before becoming an adventurer provides you with specialist knowledge and a few useful starting items. Step 4 is select your traits. Traits enable you to personalize your character's natural abilities, making them more or less strong, agile, resilient, or perceptive. Okay, sorry. And then step 5 here, select your quirk. Your quirk is what makes you different from the other characters of a similar calling and species. It is it's a quirk. Eccentricity that grants you a small advantage, often accompanied by a minor catch. Okay, so a little bit of a flaw in there as well, perhaps. And then 6, add finishing details. Finally, give your character a name and details about their appearance and personality. Oh, okay. So end at creation. So I assume that these folks are maybe the 2 writers behind this. Again, we've not been introduced to them. And I will say this as well. I did check to make sure I had the latest version of this, but I might not have the latest version of Break. It's been a little while, but this is definitely a version, so maybe I might be missing stuff as well. I just thought I'd do that, because sometimes you're like, this PDF's not right, and then it's because I've got like an old version. So this individual here says, at each creation step, you will be presented with many choices. There are 2 ways of making a decision: to randomly decide with a die roll, or to simply choose the option you like the sound of most. The second individual says, I suggest rolling first, but choosing when you get a result you don't like. This way, you'll get a character you wouldn't have thought up on your own, but will be sure to like. And it says, finally, the first individual says again, while having characters of a similar type, it is not a problem. Players might want to communicate with each other to avoid any unwanted duplication. So that's nice. So you can have similar characters of the same lineage, or have similar classes perhaps, or use the same class, but because we're not doing too much in terms of like tweaking like the base stuff, they may be very similar, but you may be role playing it differently perhaps. So it's not like you can only have one of each type in a party. So I'm a big fan of that as well. All right, let's zoom out a little bit, and then it goes into creating stuff. I do like these images at the top here, like sort of almost like a scene from a movie. That's pretty cool. Again, we're not going to look through all of them because, as we sort of talked about, it's pretty big. Oh, hello, Marcus Blackwell. Hello. Since there is a TTRPG stream, I figured I'd join in to learn what the game is, even though I have nobody to play this with. I also want to boost your viewership due to your dedication. That is very kind of you, Marcus. Well, welcome. Do not worry. It is unlikely I will find a group to play this with either. But nice to have you in here, friends. We're looking through, if you just joined us, we're just looking through something called Break, which is like a TTRPG stream that's inspired by video games and JRPGs such as Final Fantasy and Zelda. A little bit of Studio Ghibli in there as well. But yeah. Very much appreciate it, my friend. So then it goes into more detail about the different steps as well. I do like how it is laid out. We've got enough. Like again, it doesn't feel overcrowded. That's one of the things I really hate when we have 2 column stuff. Is that sometimes it is just block text. And so clearly the writing has been edited in some way, like to be like as simple as possible. But there's some bits before where I was like, oh, a little bit more editing could have been done there. So we'll do a quick flick through, but then we'll move on. Oh, how lovely is this? Oh, that's really nice. Quick start info. I love the way it's laid out. So, again, it's probably going to go into detail for each one of these. The factotum, the champion, sneak raider. I know there's a couple more. Got a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. Does it link? It does link to each one. Has the stats there, and a lovely little diagram there. Oh, that is really nice. And then links to the starting abilities. Oh, that's great. Okay, that's changed it around for me a little bit. Like I like having like these little images, these little token-like things. That, again, I can imagine you take it out and putting it onto like a BTT. Favored weapon. That's the only thing is that why is there like an exclamation point there? That's the only thing is. All right, I'm gonna zip through these because again, this is like 200 pages of like character creation. It's pretty. Is there any more content on this game yet? I'm interested in the lore of it and would like to play a video game of it. Also, I like your stream graphics, the box around you, and the camera and the socials. That's very kind of you. Yes, that is all on Etsy. There's someone on Etsy that does it, but that's very kind of you. And question, I do not know is the answer. I think this game is shipping currently, like physical copies of it are shipping as of August, and the PDF is out there. But I don't know of any other actual actual play content or anyone that's reviewing it. As I said at the beginning of this stream, the reason I'm doing it is because it came up on a random number generator that I had a copy of it. That's why I'm looking for it just now. This is interesting. This is almost like slides or stills from a film, isn't it? Showing people. I like this sort of individual here. That's me on holiday for sure. And then fact section. Oh, I really like this. Having almost like a little like visual storyboard of each character. Like they're doing something. Poof. Again, feels like famous clips from a film, doesn't it? That's really cool. All right, I'm going to zoom forward ahead a little bit. Oh, wow. So, well, we can have a look. Sorry, we'll look at the overlay of it. So the factotum. Factotums are ordinary folk caught up in exceptional situations. Their mundane approach to extraordinary problems is more effective than others might think. We've got an overview of what this could be. Who would like to be a factotum? That's quite good there as well. And then a lot more information about it. But again, I feel like what's that? Was 2 pages so far? 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's quite a bit. I do like this though. I like this, like what your combat gear allowances and actually showing that as a visual thing. That's pretty cool. and then the advancement table at the bottom. So yeah, actually, rather than having it as a list of things, doing it as almost like an infographic, that's pretty cool. I think it's a little bit overwhelming. I think I do like the boxing style of this. I think that's quite a good way of like, again, it's like this is the tricky combatant. That's all you need to know here, and it helps because of that the heading stuff I was talking about before. So it's not just a heading. It's like I can tell that this is one section. I can tell this is one section. So that's pretty good. I quite like that. And then here as well, it's got little things like verses and question marks, etc. Again, just stands out. It's like, oh, this you need to learn this, etc. Advanced abilities. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. It's very video game tech spec style. I agree. Yeah, again, I think it's pulling off that that visual elements that we see in sort of like Final Fantasy and Zelda and stuff. Like again, visually seeing where you need to go rather than requiring it. Marcus says, well, if this is a review of the creators of it, Well, if this is a review that the creators of it said that you could do as a free advertising, tell them that you are in tell them if you are in contact, it is designed. Hang on. I'm sorry, I've not had my glasses in, Marcus, so apologies. Well, if this is a review that the creators of it said you could do as free advertising, tell them that you are in contact. If you are in contact, that I'm interested in its future and hope that the best. Oh gosh, it keeps changing. Best. Mayhaps I'm a new fan. Oh, that's very kind of you, Marcus. As I said at the beginning, I'm not sponsored by them to do this. Again, it was just randomly picked from my collection of RPGs that I do. I do a lot of streaming about RPGs, so I'm actually not in contact with them. But I'm glad you're interested in its future. They have like a Discord, and maybe if I can find it, it's like not a best Discord, but like a www.breakrpg. I think it was .com. Go. I was going to say, hopefully go there. If that will work on my restream, it will come out in the chat. It has more stuff there, so maybe there's a Discord there you can go check out. But yeah, no, I'll be interested to see what more of it in the future as well. Sorry, yeah, I had another message come in, so that's why I couldn't read your thing. Kieran says, I feel like having the little graphic story at each calling gives a much better initial idea of what kind of character it is designed around than a paragraph of text. I like that choice a lot. You've hit the nail on the head. A lot of the times we get in these games, like a halfling ducks down an alleyway and puts up a hood. An elf comes out in the night and stabs you. This is what rogues are. And you're like, what? So yeah, I actually really like that. Again, having a small paragraph at the beginning, again, it doesn't have any alt text, so that is a shame. The website doesn't make. Also, I don't use Discord anymore because of mental health and addiction reasons. That is absolutely fair. I might have got the wrong thing. Let me hang on. We'll pause this. Let me see if I can find it because it was up here somewhere as we were looking through. Break RPG. Oh, hang on. Let me open it myself. It should work here. I'll try. Let me post this one instead. And fair enough, read Discord. But you might. There you go. That might be a little bit better. But hopefully that can get stuff. Actually, as I see here, it's nominated for Best Family Game and Best Layout and Design at the. It was the NE Awards, 2014 NE Awards. There you go. So it might have some more resources there. And you can kept up to date about reprints and new products. So that could be something as well. Okie dokie. Let's go back to where I was. Let's see. All right, let's move on ahead because again, I appreciate we don't have that much time. The way I go for these things, but yeah, I like the layout of it. And there's a sneak one again. Oh, look at that, sneaky sneak. I quite like that. That link worked like a charm. Yeah, fair enough. The graphics give me Ghibli, Hoyoverse, Genshi Impact vibes. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, definitely there's lots of Studio Ghibli vibes. I'm glad that link worked. It's probably because I didn't put the HTTPS in it. All right, I'll move forward a little bit. Oh, look at that champion one. Oh, champions have. Oh, look at it. That's quite a good image there. It's like bonk. Look. Oh wow, they get lots of allowances here for that particular champion, and they've got a raider as well. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like it. I like the little stories it tells, and it's like, okay, we've got free blocks, free cells, as it were, comic cells. How do we tell an image? How do we get that vibe across? And I think they've done a really good job. Clearly, they've worked really hard with their designers. Battle Princess. Oh, I love this character. Battle Princesses combine bright magic and martial prowess to defend what they hold most dear, and those under their ward will have hope in their hearts, even in the darkest of times. I like the little summary. I think that's quite good. But I do want to see what Murder Princess does. Battle dance. Yeah, animated and tuneful battle commands grant those listening a coordinated rhythmic battle flair. Amazing. That does feel very much like Delicious in Dungeon, doesn't it? As well. Oh, you can create a soul companion as well. So, oh, look at that. Loads of stuff there. I appreciate I'm rushing through it because I want to see what the actual thing is. There you go. Murder Princess. I don't know about the word Murder Princess. I'll be honest. I don't think, like, for this particular, if it's a family-friendly RPG, I think we need to go, so we've got Battle Princess. I don't know what the Savage Princess would be the other one, but Dark Avengers who wield both blade and spell to destroy what they hate most. Murder Princesses are uncompromising and merciless. Whether you're the target of their rage or simply an obstacle in their way, expect no pity. Great. I mean, I liked her vibe, but I don't know if Murder Princess fits in with the vibe of something that's going on. I just found their YouTube channel and subbed to see the progress, mainly the lore. Absolutely, Marcus, good shout. So they're not using traditional RPG terms in the classes. The titles and images don't match the traditional ones. So no, we were saying, I appreciate you've just joined us, so I will zip back so you can see what we were looking at. So yeah, so it's called callings for this one. So that would be, I believe, their term for classes. Species is what they're using instead of race, although we're not, and I'm not a big fan of that particular word. And then homeland history is what they're using for background, and then traits and quirks, etc. It's a 6-bit process on that. So yeah, calling, and then presumably like sneak is their version of rogue, champion is their sort of like barbarian type thing. I'm not sure what Battle Princess or Murder Princess is, but I guess they're combining the those archetypes we have from Japanese role-playing games as well into these things as well. So I think they're appealing to those people who've played those video games, very much like, the Zelda, Final Fantasy, Legend of Dragoon, all that sort of thing in there. So that's probably what's going from there. Anyway, I am going to move ahead. Let's go to game. I do want to look through like these other things now. We'll come back to it because I did say we'd look at the actual game itself. So there we go. We're going to go to the game basics. But I hope people then, if people are interested, then yeah, have a look at it. Like I said, it's about £20 to get a PDF copy of this, so roughly $25, possibly, maybe including tax, for like to get it on the back of it. So again, it's a lot, almost under 500 pages. So there's a lot of stuff there, which again we found a bit off-putting, but I think it's laid out in such a way that's pretty good. Paladin and Cleric. Oh, for the Battle Princess and Murder Princess? Possibly. Battle is Cleric and Murder is Paladin. Maybe. Absolutely. That's a good shout, that, actually. Game basics. So once you've created player characters and your GM has created an adventure, you're ready to start playing the game. Marcus says, I think I have another name for Murder Princess, but that's not so generic, but also suitable for familiar player. Manic Matriarch. Nice, I like it. So what do you need to play? So we need players and player characters. They need, again, we've sort of done that. You need at least one player, though the game is designed to work best with a small group of 2 to 4. A game master, so a special type of player that is part referee and part storyteller. Your GM will describe how the game world reacts to your PC's actions and arbitrates the rules. They also control all the the game master's characters, so GMCs, not NPCs there. I like that. I think that's a more positive word than non-player characters, for sure. The PCs encounter on their travels. There is only one GM. But other people can be the GM, it's fine. An adventure. So this is a quest or a mission that your PCs participate in. The GM can create their own adventures or use a ready-made one. And a 20-sided dice, or a D20. Either a die or other fast number generators set between 1 and 20. Pencils and paper. Knowledge of the rules. Your GM should be familiar with the rules, but as a player, you are encouraged to help out and make the effort to know your PC's abilities and gears work. Fantastic. If a dispute occurs over the rules, your GM's decision is final. So, and then there are 2 individual RPG helpers here that say, you also need your imagination. Get invested in the adventures of your PCs and drag other players in with you. The cheat sheets in the appendix are a quick way to refresh your memory when you forget a rule. Yeah, absolutely. Use your imagination. Marcus says, I think the game developers should think of better names before wide releasing the game, because whilst I get they may be new, I think they could be more clever. I mean, that is fair. I think I think what they've done, for me, I think, oh, that hits certain archetypes for sure. I think, again, maybe as always with these things, maybe they have a think, maybe if they have a sensitivity person to look over it, perhaps. But I think the game's already out. Like, the physical copies are going, so they've already wide releasing the game. So, but I agree. I think there's definitely more in terms of, like, what kind of role you're playing in your party. I think there's something in the name, isn't there? So, playing the game. So a game of break can be a short one-off experience or a longer repeated activity. The game's length can be broken into 3 stages. So we have a session, so that's a block of time allocated to playing the game, typically a few hours. A session ends when it's convenient for the players. A session can be finished on a natural break or on a cliffhanger. If required, the game can be resumed on the subsequent session. An adventure. This is a period of play where the PCs embark on and conclude a quest, mission, or mystery. Again, you need quest there, you don't need mission or mystery. Too many words. A large adventure can run over several sessions. And a saga, I like the name of saga. This is a sustained period of play where PCs engage in a series of adventures over many sessions. A saga can see the PCs advance from ranks 1 to rank 10. So, okay, rank 10 is the highest we can get here, I see. Even at rank 10, a saga need only end when the players feel the game has run its course or reached a logical conclusion. So that's interesting. So we can keep playing. It's not like, you've made it to the top. Okay, your characters retire. Not at all. I think the only thing I would say is that I would embolden words like session in these things and adventure, etc., so that people go, oh, that's the word you're using there. I always find that's very helpful with this, like a glossary. The session format. So a session has 3 simple phases. We have session start, play, and session end. So at session start, the GM begins a session with a short summary of what the PCs have set out to achieve or in the process of achieving. It is a good time for you to clarify anything you are confused or concerned about. And in play, the players and GM engage in general play and use the appropriate focused rules when required. The session ends. At the end of a session, your GM will reward you with XP for effort and achievement. If you have enough XP, your PCs advance in rank, and you can update your character sheets accordingly. It's also useful to broadly agree what direction your players intend to go for next session, so you can prepare ahead of time. Oh, that's quite a sweet one, isn't it? Different opponents. Oh, maybe is that 1 player, 2 player, 3 player? That's quite sweet. By some rules. I like. Again, it feels very friendly. Feels very much, again, going through that Ghibli vibe of stuff. But actually, it's quite, it is what it is. It's embracing those vibes. It is nicely pitched for new RPG players. Yeah, absolutely. So again, going back to that sort of family friendly, if you're like gamer parents and you know your kids love the anime and stuff like that, again, I think this works really well. General play. So most of the time, playing is a conversation between the players and the GM, with each taking turns to speak and react to what the other is saying. Like any successful conversation, general play is dependent on listening and exchanging clear information. Any successful conversation, gosh, how many of those have I had today? Not many. Game masters. So the game master describes the environment and situations that the PC is in, and the actions and reactions of any creatures or characters they are interacting with. The GM describes what the PCs see, hear, smell, or otherwise sense, and then it gives an example there in italics, which I'm not going to read through. I don't tend to read through the play examples too much. I think the only thing I'd say, the play examples, I would put them in a different color. They've made such an effort to put them in different colors, or have a box around and be like, this is a play example. But I don't know if that would maybe ruin the layout as it already is there. Again, we've got these headers, which are covering the whole of the column. Your GM describes any event or predicaments you encounter that require you to make a decision or take action. The GM describes the consequences of the PC's actions or inaction. See, that I like. I do like that. Inaction. Oh, that's no, that's okay. I thought that was hyperlinked. No. Your descriptions don't have to be poetic, but they should provide enough useful information for your players to react. And then players. So again, it is breaking it down quite a bit for new RPG players, as Millie the GM was saying. So players tell the GM how their PCs react to a presented situation. You ask the GM to provide more details about your current predicament by asking clarifying questions. You describe your PC's actions and intentions to the GM. You can propose a coordinated group action, but must get the consent of the other players whose PCs are required to participate. When describing your PC's actions, you can either roleplay by putting on a voice, getting into character, or referring to your PC in the first person, or you can simply describe what your PC is doing. Communicate in whatever way feels comfortable. Nice. Group conversations can get messy, people speaking over each other, and comments are missed. If your players' intentions aren't clear, ask one of them to summarise what the group plan is. I think that's always important as a GM saying, just so I'm clear. What are you doing? I think it's great. Also, make sure everyone who wants to contribute is allowed to. Absolutely. Let's see. Reminder, not inspired or influenced by Dungeons & Dragons, 200 pages in, and it's essentially Dungeons & Dragons. Well, no, it did say it was Dungeons & Dragons, but then it didn't have it in the milestone. But yeah, essentially it is that, isn't it? Like, we know that it's going to be quite hard to break away from that just because of it's in the zeitgeist so much. Here we go. It's triggered focus rules. So this was where it might be a little bit different to D&D. So large portions of the game are run in general play, but when the PCs perform specific activities like explore or craft, the GM will follow simple rules, set procedures called focus rules to determine the outcomes. Okay. Maintaining game time. Okay, I'm not going to read too much into this because I think we get the sense. Hopefully, if that's all right with folks, we won't read into it. So well, I'll say that. Well, no, that's a lie. I realise because the sun machine is broken, so maybe it is important to look at the time. So let's try it. So keeping track of time during general play is done informally when exact timings aren't critical. But after the sun machine was sundered, the sky ceased to be a useful guide of time's day. However, the passing of 24 hours in the outer world is still recognised as a day. So acknowledging the start of a new day is important. The GM will announce the passing of each day as it depletes resources, such as rations, and recharges certain abilities. The advent of a new day is particularly important when you're out on a journey, so there's journey travel rules. Adventures can be time sensitive. Your adventures may be a series of events or encounters that are triggered with the passage of time. In this case, the GM will need to keep a track of the days a little bit more closely. So I think that's a fair comment, right? Because part of this law is that the sun machine is sundered, so it'll always be like, it's always going to be brighter. It's always going to be twilight where you are, depending on which region you're in. I just made a comment on the Break's YouTube channel citing the stream as a reason for getting into the game and learning about it. It's under the latest video the channel posted. That is very kind of you, Marcus. Thank you. We'll see how positive our review is at the end, but no, I very much appreciate you sharing the word out. It's very kind of you. Time critical situations, yes, and then we've got rounds, etc. So it looks like, again, just going off this thing here, is that the PC actions, the players always go first, and you do all their actions first, and then it's the GM actions for all their sort of things as well. It's actually quite nice to see that shown out there, so I quite like that. Okay, we're on to the actual dice thing. So, Break uses a D20 sided dice, or 20 sided dice or a D20. You'll roll it on 4 occasions, so checks, contests, attacks, and tables. The majority of die rolls you make are checks. For these numbers, you're trying to roll a target number or under to succeed. I would put that as bold, so we know that's the main mechanic for this game. Contests. In a contest, you're trying to roll under a target number but higher than the characters you're competing against. So is that... Actually, that's a good question, right? Is that a target number for your character? Or is it a target number for that the GM sets? I assume it's going to be under your character, so it's very much like that Call of Cthulhu. It's you set your individual DCs for that. Attacks. So when making an attack on an opponent, you're trying to roll over a target number to hit. I don't like the change. I don't like that change at all, but it's fine. It's fine. Tables. Occasionally you roll on the table to see what happens. The result of your roll is then referenced against a list of outcomes. For example, when determining the type of injury you suffer. Okay. I'd say so far it's been very positive, but still objective, with some nice constructive criticisms. You're good at reviewing. That's very kind of you, Marcus. I appreciate it. Bonuses and penalties. These represent positive and negative factors that influence your chance of success. They apply to your roll because of an ability, rule, or at the discretion of the GM. Ooh, we've got different... So it's not necessarily advantage or disadvantage. Okay, so there's 2 levels of bonuses, and there's 2 levels of penalties. So a minor bonus is a +2. So positively affects your results by 2. So you adds a 2. Hang on a moment. No, this can't be right. Yes, there we go. I was going to say, that's not right, 'cause we're rolling equal to or under, aren't we? So a bonus will add to the result roll when you're trying to roll high, but subtract from the result when you're trying to roll low. So, okay, that's a little bit confusing because of the attack thing, right? Because we have to try roll over a target number. I think you should always roll under, and then it's like then you apply that sort of minus. Wait, do you apply it to the roll or to your like result? So your like DC. So for example, if your DC was 12 and you go, oh, but you've got a major bonus to it, would you go, okay, +4 to the 12? And so you raise that difficulty so it's a 16 instead, or do you do it to the rolled result? I think it says here you subtract it from the result. I guess it's just a little bit tricky. I think that's a little bit messy, I think. That's the only thing I'd say. And penalties is the same thing. So a minor is -2, a major is a -4. And similarly, a penalty will subtract from the roll when you're trying to roll high, but add to the result when you're trying to roll low. I understand what they're doing, but I feel like you're going to have to clarify that a lot as a GM because people just always miss these things as well. I would think that contest numbers are determined by the players. One player determines how high the number goes as an PC, and the PC gets to set the lowest. Wait, what do you mean by that, Marcus? I would think that contested numbers are determined by the players. One player determines how high the number goes as an NPC, and the PC gets to set the lowest. In this game, when all you do is roll 1d20, and whatever that number is, for the majority of it, as we just looked at, it is going to be equal to or under that target number. So there's no point in you setting the highest or lowest it can go, because for an individual check, I think it should just be one number. I think if I'm reading you right over that comment. I think contest-wise, I assume it's your individual thing. So if, for example, if we were doing like a strength check, for example, and my strength score, or whatever it is, the target number is 12, and yourself was 14, that you could roll a 13. Oh no, maybe, but I roll a 12, but I get the better result because it's equal to or under. I think the best result I could get is a 12. That's how I see it on this. Millie says, but for new players, this is a lesson in the finer details of a weird RPG rules. That is true. That is true. Again, it's that sort of thing where hopefully people go, oh, I see. And then just remembering each time, go, okay, so I am rolling under, and therefore I need lower numbers. So so my positive penalty is going to be -2. Just a little bit tricky, I think. So you can only benefit from one bonus per roll. A major bonus is used over a minor bonus. So, okay, so yeah, it meets them, that's fine. You can only suffer from one penalty per roll, and a major penalty is used over a minor penalty. If both a penalty of the same level is applied to your roll, then they cancel each other out. But if a major bonus is reduced to a minor bonus when opposed by a minor penalty. So yeah, so it just subtracts one level down, essentially. Okay, I don't think that's a problem. I think that's all right. I totally makes sense in terms of cancelling it out. And you only get one. So yeah, I like that. I kind of like that idea of having because sometimes you're like, well, technically you do have advantage, but you do have disadvantage. But often you're like, well, I don't know, you've undone your shoelaces or something. It's not as big as a disadvantage as the advantages, also a penalty as the bonuses. That's the only thing I'd say. It would set them up for other weird games and their weird rule exceptions. I agree. I wonder if the way it's worded is a bit odd, perhaps. Again, because I'm like, oh yeah, so I'll add this to my roll. But then a lot of the time, hopefully, I think 75% of the game, you'll be rolling equal to or under. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing. I know what you're saying. I think absolutely game design like this, but I don't know. I've told people several times how to play a game, and they still don't remember their rules after several sessions, which is fine. I hope that the devs check out the VOD of your stream, the whole stream as it's gone on, as it's been done going live. You definitely are someone who knows her stuff when it comes to TTRPGs, and you're a fair cricket. That's very kind of you, Mark, as well. Again, I say this, I'm not a game designer at all. Like, I do play lots of games, so all this is with a pinch of salt. Maybe there is a reason for it. And again, I might not be looking at a latest version of this, because it's a PDF, all that sort of thing. So again, this is just my quick reviews or something. It's a small amount of maths to make it all roll under. I agree. Right, moving on then. We've got edges and snags. Oh, I like the word snags. Edge provides you with another chance to succeed, while snags give you another chance to fail. Oh, okay. If you have an edge, you roll twice and use the most favourable result. See, that instantly... Oh, I like that favourable result. If you have the snag, you roll twice and use the least desirable result. That makes sense to me. yeah, favourable result depending on, that's the thing, compared to bonuses and penalties. You can only benefit from one edge per roll or suffer from one snag, and they cancel each other out. You see, yeah, favourable, that instantly goes, right, favourable for me would be under, or lowest. So that's the thing there. So I think that's a really good example of advantage, disadvantage, and then including bonuses. I would have put the edges and snags first before talking about bonuses and penalties. All right, focus rules. So here's like a quick view of this. So these are invoked when you attempt something risky or unpredictable activity during play. These procedures determine the outcome of such activities. So during a session, you switch back and forth between general play and the focus rules as the game requires. So we have checks and contests where you challenge yourself with a feat of skill, strength, smarts, or bravado. I can't remember because we didn't look at it too quickly, but I presume that maybe you only have a couple of stats or something like that. Journey. So journey rules are used when navigating across the outer world and determine if you suffer any hardship or unexpected events on your travels. Explore. So the explore rules are used when you enter dangerous locations and determine what you encounter whilst there. Negotiate. I love these little images that describe what you're doing. The negotiate rules are used when you attempt to influence a GMC character, action, or thoughts. Fight. So those combat rules are used when you engage in combat with an enemy or target a physical option or object of destruction. Peril. So these are used when you're exposed to harmful effects like burning, falling, and drowning. Oh, all three of them at once, huh? And downtime. Downtime rules are applied when you attempt to do something productive in the time between adventures. And then finally, I jumped ahead. Crafting. Crafting rules are used when you attempt to create, customize, or repair an item with your crafting ability. Nice. So okay. So it feels like, oh god, there's so many rules for different things. I assume they're going to be pretty short or pretty contained. I do like the images. Let me just zoom out a little bit so we can see it. I do like, similar to how we had it for the callings. I presume they do this for everything. There's this is the first page and it goes, here's all the information as an overview, and where you can find it and where it's hyperlinked to. I really like that. I'm a big fan of having it all in one place, and you go, okay, rather than going, okay, I think it's I'm playing a bard, so that's near the front, and then you just switch through. So I do think this is quite good. Focus rules are used when not having conversations. So a lot of the time, it seems like you're right, Millie. I think it's going to be with certain activities, right? Certain things. I mean, it depends on how often you're going to implement these rules, right? Maybe in certain sessions you won't implement downtime or crafting rules at all. So, Right, checks and contests. Oh, I love this image. I like these little images of describing stuff. So when out on an adventure, you'll constantly push your PC to their limits, often pitting themselves against rival characters and creatures that you meet. I like this one, looking at a map and the blueprints. That's quite good. Again, no alt text. It's fine. Lists almost every game situation that uses most game situations that use focus rules. I agree. I feel like the main mechanic. Well, actually, sorry. I know I keep jumping about. The main mechanic. Those are the four times you'll roll the d20 of different tests. But then, are there realistically any different rules? Like the checks and contests is probably going to be using your abilities, your ability modifiers, right? Fighting, is that going to use anything specific? I wonder how much of these rules will be so in detail and depth, and it's just a way to find, oh, you're about to talk to somebody. Okay, that's probably going to do in negotiations. It might actually not be these are specific rules. They're just repeating the rules from earlier, but saying with the caveats of this, this, and this. So rather than having it all in one section, it's broken up, and so you can easily find it if there's a one or two additional rules. So maybe it's not going to be too much in terms of new rules to learn, but again, we'll see. So when to reuse these rules? Oh, that's quite interesting. So actually saying, when you would likely use checks and contests. So it says here, whenever your PC's physical or mental capabilities are in question, you need to make a check to see if their attempt is successful. You enter a contest if you're testing your capabilities against another. What these rules cover. So what are aptitudes for, when and how to make a check, when and how to enter a contest, using linked contests for prolonged competitions like chases, and achieving special successes. Okay. So we have... Oh, let me zoom out a little bit. So presumably this is what we have in the character sheet. Again, I appreciate we didn't really look at characters too much, so it might be there might be more on this, but presumably we have 5 stats or modifiers, or aptitudes, I think they're called here. You must roll under... Let me zoom up. You must roll under an aptitude score when asked to make a check or enter a contest. So yeah, so it is individual DCs then for each of your characters. So might is used for tests of strength or brute force. A high score means you are athletic or able-bodied. A low score means you are scrawny or feeble. Deftness. Deftness is used for executing precise or graceful movements. A high score means you are agile or nimble. A low score implies that you are clumsy or uncoordinated. I mean, that's me. I'll tag myself there, clumsy or uncoordinated. Grit. Grit is required for tasks of that require determination or resilience. A high score means you are tough or willful. A low score implies you are frail or gutless. Insight. So insight is used for quick thinking, observation, or comprehension. A high score means you are perceptive or astute. A low score implies that you are witless and oblivious. And then finally, aura. Aura is used to exude a high commanding presence. A high score means you are charismatic or alluring. A low score implies you are easy to ignore or dislike. Oh, sorry, I didn't have it here. There we go. A little bit there so you can see it. Easy to ignore or dislike. That's so sad. So choosing aptitudes. So making a check, you must use an appropriate attitude. If not explicitly specified in a rule or ability, your GM will decide which is appropriate. So we have might checks, deftness checks, grit checks, insight checks, and aura checks. And so there's some examples here like, kicking down the door, picking a lock, holding your breath while struggling underwater, etc. When entering a contest, the characters must use appropriate aptitudes. If not explicitly specified in a rule or ability, the GM will select aptitudes for each contestant based on their approach. So we've got some examples here like insight versus might, which is brains versus brawn, deftness versus might contest again, so precision against power. So yeah, so individual things. But it's nice that it's just all you have is these 5 checks. So that's quite good. Excuse me. If you can think of a good way to apply your highest aptitude to a check or contest, tell your GM. So for example, there's a capital I there, if someone is using might to wrestle you to the ground, you could oppose them with might. However, you might have a better chance of success using deftness to wriggle out of their grip. Oh, and again, it's got this... Again, I like this. These sort of start check procedures. Again, maybe it's just because it's very clear, but I do appreciate that. Oh, step 1, step 2. Like, it's straightforward, and certainly if you're using the 2-column thing. I don't like the use of able-bodied as a positive adjective in the might attitude. To me, it feels like the game thinks it's not possible for a disabled character to have aptitude for might. That is a very, very common, Karen. I completely missed that. So thank you for pointing it out. Yes, agreed. Again, just athletic would be good here. Yeah, like so far, I mean, to be fair, we've not seen anything in terms of safety. In terms of like lines and veils and session zeros or anything like that in this game, and I appreciate we've not. It just kind of started. Didn't talk about anything like that. Maybe it has it later on. We might not get to it, but yeah, just being aware of like what characters can we see out there, because absolutely we see disabled characters in anime all the time, and in manga, and in Studio Ghibli films, and in the video games as well. So it shouldn't be seen as, yeah, as you said, having this positive that, oh, you are able-bodied. Meaning that if you're not able-bodied, is that a negative? Absolutely not. 100% agree with you there. Alright, step 1. So we trigger an ability. So an ability or rule can prompt you to make a check. If your GM asks you to make a check, when you attempt a risky or challenging one... Oh wait, hang on. The GM can ask you to make a check when you attempt a risky or challenging action where there is a consequence to failure. Excuse me. Checks are not required when there is time to make repeated attempts. You just succeed. Checks are not possible for tasks or actions your GM deems impossible or beyond the capability of your PC, you just fail. So interestingly, does that mean, I guess that means when you attempt something, that's it. You're not going to push the roll or anything like that. You have maybe the edges and the, oh, what was it now? It was, the snags. I love that word, snags. For advantage, disadvantage. And then the bonuses and stuff, but that's it. You don't get another go at something. Then you make the check. An aptitude for your check is selected. The aptitude you use is described in the ability of one you're using, or if unspecified, your GM will choose. They will declare any discretionary bonuses or penalties that apply to the roll. Roll a d20, apply bonuses, penalties, snags, or edges to determine the final result. Interesting. Do they not declare edges or snags? Or maybe that's something that you do as a character. Maybe you have, oh, I get an edge for might rolls against creatures bigger than me, you know. In a time-critical situation, if not specified, your GM can decide if your check requires the use of your action. Right, so if it's in combat or something like that. But then it's got combat things. And then finally, determining the result. Let me move this back down. Sorry. There we go. Determining if the result of your roll is equal to or lower than the selected attitude score, you succeed. The consequences of a success or failure will be specified in the ability or rule you are using, or is otherwise decided by your GM. If unmodified roll matches the exact here we go. If it matches the selected aptitude score exactly, you achieve a special success, which we can see later on. If you roll a 20 prior to applying any bonuses or negatives, you automatically fail the check. So a natural 20 is bad here. Millie says, it feels like the creators are new to RPGs and the whole project would have been better with a consultant who's a little bit more well-rounded. I agree. I think, here's the thing. Would I give this page to someone like a niece or nephew who's really interested in trying RPGs, is into anime? This is too long-winded. I love the layout of it, don't get me wrong. But we've already covered how to make a roll here. Like, you know, I know it's going to be a D20. I think this is way too big a thing. The most important thing is here, right? If you match your score, that's a special success. So that's probably one higher than normal successes. Great. If you roll a 20, automatically fail. Do you get anything for a natural 1? You know. So I do feel like, again, I really like the layout because I instantly am like, oh, it's so clean, I could read it easily, etc. But I agree with you, Millie. It feels like we're going to break it down to everything for if you've never played before. And I think we shouldn't, it maybe feels patronizing, perhaps. Like, you know, it's like, I think, you know, a 12-year-old would understand what this means. I think the only issue we have is that thing from before about the bonus and penalties. But again, all fine. And in the contest one, it's going to be the same sort of thing, right? Let's see if it says anything different. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm just trying to, again, so it's the same, roughly the same talk, except for the contest, obviously, we pick, maybe it's different, going to be different aptitudes depending on what you're doing. So if you're wrestling someone to the ground, someone might be using might, but somebody else wouldn't necessarily be using might to get out of it. It could be deafness to sort of like wriggle out of it. And change the tide a little bit, depending on what your approach is to it. So let's see what it says about winning. So, a contestant wins if they make their check and their opponent does not. In the event that both sides make or fail their check, the winner is decided with the following. So, a contestant with a special success wins over a standard success, so if they match their score exactly. If both or neither the parties have... if both or neither parties had a special success, then the contestant with an edge wins. Oh. If both or neither parties have an edge, then the largest bonus wins. The largest penalty loses. Okay, that is... Hang on. Contest with the highest natural roll wins. There's so many if then. That seems really weird. Like, I feel like edges and bonuses and penalties shouldn't affect that. It should be the natural, if you've tied on something. I guess it's tricky, isn't it? Because it's individual things. Well, that feels very badly worded. I don't know about anyone else. Like, I understand like a success, but maybe it's like the closest to your number. So if you, say for example, take that thing before, if I have a 15 and you have a 14, and I'd rolled a 14, so I've one away from underneath it, but then you've rolled a 14, that's a special success. But if you've rolled, oh no, that's true, isn't it? You got to roll better than your opponent So even if you rolled a 10 with your 14, I'm still closer to my own thing, so that's a better result. I'm not so sure. My thought is, why can't a contest be a tie? Agreed. Yeah. Yes, there are loads that would be fabulous for new games, but it needs a final finesse. Yeah, I agree, Millie. Absolutely. I think again, maybe again, I say this with all the love in the world. Maybe I'm looking at an old version of this, but it's such a big book, really big book as well. So I don't think they have looked at it. Has the level of a tie ever come up in a playtest? Do they need that? I don't know. I think because you got these edges and I feel like the penalty and bonus stuff, I don't think you need it. I think if you've got an edge or you've got a, sorry, brain is not an edge or a snag, I don't think you need bonuses and penalties on top of that. I think you need, it feels like for me, you need either or, right? Stalemate. So the contest does not have a decisive outcome. The contest runs into another round. Ugh. Your GM may decide the contest cannot be extended and the status quo is maintained. So just hang on, just so I got this right. So special success wins over normal success. That I understand. But then if they both have a special success, if they both make their checks, the contestant that has an edge with 1 point. So if they don't have an edge, the largest bonus wins. But if they don't have a bonus, then it's the penalty. If they don't have a penalty, it's natural roll. I feel like I don't think you need these in it at all. I think it's just the highest natural number wins, perhaps. I don't know. If you want to have more than one PC wanting to get involved in a contest, think about how many could realistically participate. For example, limited space may prevent more than 2 people clinging onto or wrestling over the Marquis's scepter. Okay, linked contests. So sometimes the GM will decide the victory cannot be a single contest. So there's more like extended contests as well. And here the winning is decided by one side emerging victorious by winning 2 contests in a row or by rolling a special success. Interesting. I was going to say the best of 3 to keep it simple. A linked contest can also be won if a contestant gives up or is unable to continue. A stalemate. If a linked contest is interrupted, or if there's a change in circumstance, the contest can be brought to a close with neither side securing an advantage. So the reason I say best of 3 rather than like winning 2 in a row, because then you know like you have 3 rounds to do this or 3 checks to do it, rather than like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's the only thing I'd say there. Like I love the idea of having like. Because you would still, if you won 2 contests in a row, then it's still over. But then what if it is back and forth or the special success? Yeah. So I think you do best of 3 or a special success. That's my gut instinct here. How are we doing on time? We've got about 20 minutes left. Okay. So we've got an example here. Fine. Special success. Oh, let's look at this image. I want to see it. Oh, I love this. It's jumping and like almost just making it, but not quite. Oh. There is a moment of epiphany or extreme mastery when completing a task. Achieving special success. If an unmodified roll exactly matches the aptitude selected for a check or contest, then that special success is achieved. So it has to be a natural 15 or a natural 14, etc. Effects. So rolling special success means you are not only you complete the action, but you actually overachieve. Discuss and agree with your GM an additional benefit as a result of your special success. Cool. I like that. I think going back and forth a little bit rather than having like, oh, it's a might check. Okay, you get here's some things that are tied to it. Because that's sometimes I find with like Powered by the Apocalypse, or where you're rolling stuff, say Free League stuff that has stunts with it, and I go, okay, you've rolled these extra things, but actually none of these really apply to your situation. I think like I'm very happy for people to give me examples of what what the special success does. Yeah, absolutely. And then we're going to journeying. Tell you what, let's look at journey, and then let's look at crafting rules because combat. I assume it's actually no. Let's not look at journey. Let's look at combat. Let's look at crafting, and if possible, we can look at the others because combat we know is rolling over the AC of something. So let's have a look at that, shall we? But there's some really nice patterns. Look at this. I like this. Again, looking over stuff. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Port, town, village, ruins. There's loads of stuff here. Navigating. Oh gosh. Wrong turn, getting lost, always table. Oh, I see. Oh, that's quite cute, isn't it? So look, we've got a lost table. And then when you roll, it shows you what you can do. So you've got a few missteps, so you take the scenic route. So you only travel half the thing. You go completely the wrong way, or you go full circle. Wow, I like showing that. I also like how like low isn't too bad. Like, okay, it takes you a lot longer to get there, but when you get really high, that's when you've really like stuffed up and you go full circle. Ooh, brutal. I like that as a lost table. And I like the imagery about it. And then we've got some example encounters there as well. These images are great. I do like them. All right, let me. Oh wow, see, example adventure site to look at. So it's almost done it as a. Oh, that's what I see. So different ways where you go for those different locations. Interesting. Okay. Sorry, I will. Oh, look at that image there. A gloop family. These corrosive jellies try to digest any organic materials they come across. I love the image of them. Negotiate. Okay. Fight. There we go. Fighting. There's some like a little goblinoid pig person's head's been blown off there. Incredible. So when to use these rules? When you get embroiled in a physical or magical battle with an adversary, and the outcome is unclear. Don't use the fight rules on attacks on sleeping or otherwise incapacitated foes. Just instead allow the PCs to slay them, or if they prefer, knock them unconscious. So what these rules cover: calculating your combat values, creating battlefields, using action and moves, the effects of damage and injury, how to sunder inanimate objects, and fighting colossal foes. Alright, so here we've got our start procedure. So, first of all, step 1, we start the fight. Oh, Kieran says, the getting lost rule reminds me of a tradition started by my grandmother, which I still observe. I never get lost, I just take the scenic route. Oh, how wholesome! I like that. I like that, that sort of way of looking at things. I constantly take the scenic route. So step 1, we start the fight. So determine who started the fight, and then they will take their turn first. Was the fight started with an ambush? Determine whether it was successful or whether the unsuspecting side misses a turn. Okay, so again, it's that surprise round or not. Step 2 is to create the battlefield. So the GM will describe where the fight is taking place, breaking it down into battlefield areas that you will occupy and move between. Some areas may suffer from a condition which makes it more challenging to perform actions there. So like difficult terrain, etc. Some sort of like maybe environment hazards. Positions of teams. The GM divides the characters involved into opposing teams. The GM will allocate each combatant a battlefield area to start in. Finally, taking turns. The first team agrees in which order their team members will act. Each member will then make their move and perform their actions in the agreed order. Your GM will resolve and describe the outcome of each combatant's actions as they are made, and the opposing team or teams will then take their turn in a similar way. So it sounds like the first team, whoever that might be, I think that's probably the players, right? That totally makes sense in my head. It's like players go first, and then I will go first. Oh, and then I will go next, and so on and so forth. And in step 5, end the fight. The fight is over if the team has been incapacitated, sundered, or has escaped to safety. If the teams are still trading blows, return to step 4. You won't always be able to win every battle, so you know when the odds are stacked against you and you want to avoid unnecessary combat. Agreed. Alright. Oh, look at this. It's super cute. Interesting. Okay. So, zoom in a little bit. So when you participate in a fight, we'll be When you participate in a fight, you will frequently reference 4 keen combat values: attack bonus, defense rating, speed rating, and hearts total. Okay. Attack bonus represents how good you are at hitting things and is a reflection of your training and killer instinct. Your base attack bonus is determined by your calling and rank and is listed on your calling advancement table. Watch out for other factors that might modify your attack bonus, such as using a master weapon. I do like that sort of like watch out, like little icon there. I think that's pretty good. When to apply your attack bonus. So you apply it whenever you perform an action that requires an attack roll. So here, we've got it here. So attack bonus, I think it's using the example here. So you've got your calling, which gives you a base value of +1. You're using your favorite weapon, perhaps, favorite weapon, master +1, and weapon type +1. So it's a +3 to attack there. Okay. Heart. So your heart's total determines how much superficial damage you can take before receiving a more serious, lasting injury. Hearts represent a mix of your fighting spirit, luck, and pain threshold. Your heart total is determined by your calling and rank, which are both listed on your calling's advancement table. So here it says, oh, well, you say that, it's also going to include a quirk as well, I'm guessing. Watch out for any other factors that might modify your heart's total, such as, for example, for example, the socializing downtime activity. Okay. When your hearts are depleted during a fight, you take damage after you take damage from an attack. Okay. So here in this example we have 4. The base value here from the champion at rank 1 is 3, plus quirk of Girthsome gives another heart. Interesting. I don't know necessarily about that, but that's okay. And then we have defense rating. Again, it comes from your species, so your lineage here. So the base value is 11, and if you're wearing certain armor, it's 5. So you've got 15 defense. And then depending on your, hang on, so slow speed here. So we've got base value is that for this particular lineage is average. The armor gives you a maximum of fast, so you can go up to fast, but then the quirk you've got is going to minus some of your speed, so that's why you're slow. So I think, okay, so far easy to sort of pick out and derive from, I think. Let's just go through it here a little bit. So there are 4 speed ratings: slow, average, fast, and very fast. You start with a base speed rating of average compared to the average human ability. Watch out for abilities and other factors that can adjust your speed rating, for example, the raiders like the wind ability. Your speed rating determines how many battle areas you can move through on your turn. During a fight, you are aware of an inbound attack and free to take evasive action. A high speed rating provides you with the defensive bonus, so you get some real defense bonus there. Using it in contests, I guess it's using a bonus. That's the thing, it's bonuses here. It's not an edge, it's a bonus. Let's see what they're doing now. If you are 1 rating faster than the other contestant, you gain a minor bonus. If you're 2 or more ratings faster than the other contestant, you gain a major bonus. Excuse me. Note that heavier armor limits the maximum achievable speed rating. Does it? So I couldn't go for like very fast if you were wearing this armor. I see. And finally, defense rating represents your ability to deflect or avoid harmful targeted attacks. Depends on your species size and is modified by the defensive gear you are using on occasion. So we've got. I do like how it does link out individually to each one of these things. I think that is quite good. Watch out for other factors that might modify your defense rating. For example, champion into the fray ability. Defense rating is referred to whenever you are targeted by an attack by physical or magical. Let's try again. It's referred to whenever you are targeted by a physical or magical attack. A adversary's attack roll must match or exceed your defense rating. So it's versus, I see. And here we go. We've got some base defenses. Again, I do like how they are using visual references here to describe stuff. It's just a shame they don't have any alt text. That's super heavy. That's great. I like that. And we've got creating a battlefield. Battlefield areas describe the separate physical spaces you can occupy and move between during a fight. If a location is separated either by a significant distance or has differing physical characteristics, your GM could qualify it as a separate area. So I guess what it's saying here is like, near, medium, far, distant. It's trying to do zones of effect, right? That's what it feels like. You can attack people in the same area as you of any weapon, but melee weapons are most effective at close range. You can also physically attack adversaries in a different area with your weapon type that has an extended range, such as a missile weapon. So ranged attack, I'm guessing. The number of areas you can move through on your turn is set by your speed rating. And the amount of combatants that fit into any one area is decided by your GM. It could be a large number for an open field, or a small number for a tiny alcove. Okay, so simple areas you might want to use. I'll be honest, I'm so bored. Like I guess it's again. It feels like this sort of thing you would use to have like a VTT, right? Because the things that what I liked about the Battlefield's idea is that okay, you're in a very difficult terrain because it's it's very slippery. There's water on the floor, and so you need to get out of this area. So keeping track of where the water is, it starts in this area by the door, and they're at the other door, which is in a different area. So I like that we don't have numbers necessarily that add to it. But God, it feels a little bit tedious, doesn't it? It feels a little bit like, again, a lot of detail. So it makes me wonder, like, would you not have this? Would you have to draw a map for this? Would you have to have some sort of some sort of visual reference just for the players to know than anything? I'm gonna switch on because I want to. There we go. Current area, one area away, two areas away. There you go. See, like these images are pretty good, aren't they? I see. Custom areas. This is what I was talking about before. So there's stepping stone here, and then we've got bog, which probably would be difficult terrain as a result. Adding new areas in fact, so I guess that's quite cool as well. You can do that as well. It just feels a little bit much, doesn't it? It just feels a little bit overwhelming. And the images help out here a lot. I do think that as well. And then we've got area conditions. Oh, cramped, isolated, harmful. Again, good to think about these. Obscured, sheltered, suffocating, precarious. So again, I think I would definitely draw something out and then label these areas and be like, this is precarious, the stepping stone is precarious, but it's suffocating and harmful as the noxious bog. Say noxious anywhere? No. I'm just trying to... I want to read the actual fact. There we go. Okay, so slow is that you don't move any areas at all, right? Is that what it's saying? Sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I'm just aware of the time. When the pictures are brought in, it feels very Final Fantasy. Yeah, I agreed. I think just the way the sort of individual avatars look as well. So I definitely see that. Here we go. Here we go. So the speed rating. Sorry, I'll zoom in a little bit. If it's average, you can move to the adjacent battlefield area. So like one area, fine. If it's fast or very fast, you can move up to 2 connecting battlefield areas. But if you are slow, you must use an extra move action to change areas. Right. Don't know necessarily what that means. Like, do you have to forgo like attacking someone in order to move? Some abilities such as supernatural leaping or flight allows you to access to and occupy areas in an unconventional way. So for example, a character with flight might avoid a harmful area condition that is transmitted by contact with the floor, but not an atmospheric effect. And a fast character with a supernatural leaping might be able to bound over from one area completely if there's enough headroom to do so. I mean, that's fair. Fair enough. Here we go. When you're positioned correctly, it is time to act. You perform one action during your team's move. The result of your action is resolved immediately. This might impact on others' choices. So for example, if you slayed a foe that was also targeted by an ally acting after you, they may now want to redirect their attack to another opponent. Fair enough. But it sounds like, yeah, you have to choose to move, rather than that you could just move and then do your action. Right? That's what I'm gathering here. Alright, tell you what, guys, let's... there's a lot here, I'm just trying to look at it. So, let's say, making your attack roll, so roll a d20, add your attack bonuses to the result. Remember to check for any edges, snags, bonuses, or penalties that might apply to your attack. To cause damage, you need to match or exceed the target's defense rating. Oh, rolling a 20 is always a success, rolling a 1 is a failure. And success, you do 1 heart of damage. Okay. So again, it's set damage, these things. No, damage done can be increased by weapons abilities such as mighty weapons. So, but it's always set. You're not rolling for it. It's not random, so that's good. If your attack total exceeds your weapon's listed extra damage ring, then the strike does an additional heart of damage. If using a magical attack or an ability, that check to see if there's any other consequences. Oh, ability check to see if there's any other consequences from a successful hit. A failure is that you strike poorly, miss time, or otherwise ineffective. No damage is done. And I've got some stuff for dual wielding. During a fight, you'll always be actively defensive. But if you completely forfeit your offensive ambitions, you have a better chance of protecting yourself. So yeah, if you're choosing to dodge, that's what I'm seeing here, isn't it? And as you intend to defend and take no action during your turn, you can choose to defend yourself or another character in the same battle area as you. The defended character gets a +2 to their defense rating the next turn. That's quite good. The character may only benefit from 2 defenders at any one time. Oh, nice! So you could like double team up with someone to do that. We're just going to defend this one person as they're doing spells. So we've changed from a result of 20 as well as so we've changed what a result of 20 is as well as the way we roll tests. Why? I agree. Like, I don't know why. It seems weird to do so for this one thing. Is it because people really like rolling d20s? And I don't know. It feels wild to do that when all we've done so far, like, it feels like. All right, let's think about it. Let's go back a little bit. If it was a roll over thing in the previous one, like for checks and stuff, what necessarily changes? Not much. Well, no, I guess because you have high ability scores, so it's gonna be hard to go over the things that you're most likely to fail. So we'd have to change it. Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all why you would roll over. That defense rating, I think it's the defense rating. I think is the it's tricky here, right? Hang on, sorry, I'm going back a little bit. Defense rating is base value plus armor. Is it making it tricky? Like maybe your defense rating should just be. Everyone has a base value of 5, and then armor. No, maybe it's a base value of 10, and armor minuses it down, so it goes down to 6. So it's 6 or less, you hit me, that sort of thing. But yeah, it feels so silly. I don't know why they've changed it. It doesn't feel like it makes sense. Maybe there's comments on the Kickstarter, perhaps. Yeah. It's defined your sort of some attack. Again, I'm going to move on a little bit because I can see there's loads of things in here. Which again, put it this way. Oh gosh, there's so much beautiful artwork. That's the thing. Oh, I like that combat trait. So let's think about. I'm going to forgo the crafting rules. I wanted to have a quick look at them beforehand, but I think it was important to look at like something that was different. Actually, I'm going to have a look at the crafting rules. Look at that peril. Oh, it's a bridge breaking. Let's see. Some downtime. Recruitment, taming, training your companions. Oh, nice. Crafting. I just wanted to see what there is for crafting, if anything. I don't want to go into too much detail about it. So, your rank and crafting discipline will determine what type of items you can be able to make, customize, and repair. Crafter 1 to 4 can make basic items, and 5 and above can make advanced items. You need specialist kits, materials, customization. Make a crafting roll. Aptitude is determined by the ability of the crafting thing, so apply edges, snags, bonuses, penalties to the roll. If you're rank 5, will let you automatically succeed when making, repairing basic items associated with your crafting discipline. You will also attempt to make basic items without requiring tools, but this will also require a crafting check. So presumably, again, it's equal to or under, I'm guessing. There's a crafting missteps table there I saw. I'm just trying to see, is it going to tell us? I assume it's equal to or under. Gadgeteering, tailoring. That's quite cool. So we've got these different ranks. Oh, I kind of like the different tables of that. That's quite interesting. Customizing gear, repairs. Identifying numbers, imbued gear type. Interesting. Using materials, mundane materials. Okay. Ooh, floating stone. so much detail here, though. So much, which I just don't. Again, players, they ain't going to read it. So that's, yeah, imbued object there. Crafting mishaps. Interesting. See, aborted attempt, flawed, and you get a complication. There you go. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being a fool. Let me try and see if I can find it. No, that's it. I want to see if it is a D20. I assume it's a D20 and equal to or under. It would be a D20 because that's the system, isn't it? Sorry, I am jumping around a bit, but I just want to know. Yeah, it's a check. Check, so it'll be a D20 plus the aptitude. So there you go. All right, let's finish up there. Sorry, guys, I wanted to just double check if there's anything different. But it is equal to or under. I'm guessing if it's just a normal check. So, what do we think of this game, of this Break the RPG? I think it is a beautifully well designed game. The amount of thought that's gone into all these illustrations, and illustrations for diagram purposes, is incredible. Like for combat, for like visually showing your character sheets in certain ways. You know what? That's a good point. I didn't even look at the character sheet. Let's have a look at the character sheet. Wow, sorry, all the way down. There we go. Oh, interesting. It's got stuff here with the bonuses and penalties and stuff. But like, so you have a lot of stuff here, but yeah, ultimately it is straightforward in terms of like, here's the 5 abilities you've got, equal to or under for most of it. It seems fairly readable. I'm not sure about the line thing here personally. I guess it's the base here, right? And then I guess you can increase things up and down. It's 2 pages. Oh, here's an example here. Ah, interesting. So there's an example here. Oh, and it's a screen readable example as well. Interesting. Color in the bars. Yeah, I think I like it. Again, I appreciate we didn't look into it in too much detail, but presumably that's where you go, oh, I will always have a... Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's items like your weapon and stuff is always going to give you like a +1 bonus or something to something. Or a minus bonus, etc. I think the issue, though, I think... Going back up to it. So let's hang on. Let's organize our feelings and thoughts. I really like the imagery. I think they've worked really hard on getting really good diagrams and illustrations, not just for like demonstrating, okay, here's the areas of effect, but also like, as Kieran said earlier, for the different callings and stuff. Like, again, we only touched the surface. It's such a big book, but like, you know, this is what a totem looks like. This is what a champion looks like taking scenes almost from a film. And you're like, oh, shoot, yeah, that's quite cool. And I like having those little circles that demonstrate, like, what negotiation is. Like, I think clearly someone's gone through and gone, oh, well, we need an image here. And there's so much images in here. And presumably, that is one of the reasons why this book is so big, is that there's a lot of artwork in here. I do think... yeah, I agree. I don't understand why the base mechanics should always be the same. Like, that there's something that I agree with quite a lot. Like, it should only change... Like, for example, I'm thinking of Call of Cthulhu, for example. There's... A lot of it is equal to or under, and each of that is your DC that you've set because of what your character has in that stat. The only time when you want to fail a check is those sanity rolls, right? I appreciate this is a very nuanced example, but bear with me. But you want to roll over it to not understand what's happening to you. But that's within the game. If you understand what happens to you, then bad things happen. You know, that's the only time where that's sort of flipped, that sort of thing. Here, I have no idea. It feels like it's undone a lot of work to be like, now we've got the defense, you've got to get equal to or over. I feel like the defense stuff, I feel like it should be you rolling something on your character's sheet. So like, for example, you roll to hit under your might and, oh, you've missed. So it doesn't hit the, you know, that's it. We shouldn't have defense ratings at all. It should, if anything, it should be armor, right? It should be like +1 armor, +2 armor, etc. Or has armor, so will soak up some damage. So if you do a might check to hit a creature and you succeed or do a special success, but they're wearing 1 armor, you do, I don't know, 3 damage, but it soaks 1 up, and so it takes 2 hearts damage. That's what it should be. I feel like I like rolling over. It just adds more stuff to it. That's what I think is the issue. So yeah, it's the armor rating that's the issue here. The defense rating is the issue here. It does feel like, why would you change it to a D20 equal to or over when it seems like, and I say this as someone who's only literally, I was just glancing at the thing, every other system probably has a roll under. So like the crafting tools, like, okay, there's a lot to it, but ultimately is, oh, you do a check with your crafting proficiency of like rank 1, this is what you can create. Oh, you're going to use whatever your best aptitude is for that. You see what I mean? The armor either soaks damage or gives you penalties and snags. Yes, exactly right, Millie. That's the thing. The defense rating doesn't make sense. I think that's the biggest criticism I have of it, because then it feels like, oh, you've changed it. And I just think people do forget and stuff, but it just feels, because it just changes a lot about what else they've done. So like that natural 20, oh, but that's really good in combat, but it's bad everywhere else. It's like, what? Why? So yeah, I think just, again, that's the only, I think, you know what? If I was going to play this game, if I was going to run this game, I think I would change it. It feels like an easy change to make as well. Don't worry about defense rating. It is more me trying to hit you and take 1 heart of damage. If you're wearing armor, etc., it's fine. I don't think there's anything else that armor does other than reduces your speed, I think, was the thing that, again, we briefly looked at. I very much appreciate we've only just like scratched the surface here of this book. But other than that, any more in terms of critiques? And like I said, I really love the artwork. I think, as Millie was mentioning in the comments, I feel like it's written and it over-explains a lot of things. But it could have, I think, a lot of the reference stuff could have been. It feels like I'm over-explaining and using a lot of language to explain it, and I totally understand why you would do that for people who are new to RPGs. But if this is a family-friendly RPG, targeting it at maybe younger players who are excited to play, you need to reduce it down. You need to be like, just a couple of sentences. Like, I feel like look at the layout. The layout is so easy to read, but like the like that character, this is fine. I actually think the character creation procedure, this reference is fine. It totally makes sense what you're doing. But when it's the what was it? Let's go page 200. Oh, that's not it at all. That's fixing gear. Sorry, I know I'm skipping through things like no tomorrow, but like, oh gosh, there's so much for these. Oh, this is gear, isn't it? Ah, foolish Fiona. Sorry, I'm trying to give my examples. Character rank, okay, almost there. So like, if I was doing rules, here we go. Like, let's do that fight thing, okay. Ooh, pick on the. That is okay, I think, as an overview, but then it got into the real nitty-gritty here and here, and people aren't going to pay attention, I think, unfortunately. And it's the same with that other one from, not the negotiation, the general test as well. Yes, there we go. So, like, triggering a check, but this is way too much in detail, I think. I think this, like, we know what it is. Literally, it could be this bit here, right? It could be just that, and then determining the outcome. Like, the important things for us to know are these things about achieving special success and the 20s. And the same with the contested ones as well. It's just, this is so written out, so a lot. Again, would be nice to have this as maybe an image as well. I don't know. There's a lot to it, I think. I do like the summary sheet I'm printing out, but I just think there's lots of words. It's just over-explained. I think it could be easily, like, again, just a quick copy edit just to make it sound a bit more interesting. I absolutely agree that it would benefit from being slimmed down for children and adults, yes, who are excited for their first RPG. Even I, an adult who has played in a variety of different systems, find a bit demoralizing to have to wade through lots of seemingly contradictory mechanics. Very true, very wise. Like, this is the thing, I'm not a big fan of like, oh gosh, we have to work out how to travel and stuff, but I love the imageries of it. I like the investigation tools, like, okay, we have to do certain checks and, oh, we're going to have, like, this I actually quite like. This could easily have been just a table saying, wrong turn, oh no, this, but I like the imagery of it. I think it's really good. As an experienced TTRPG consultant or editor with knowledge of the industry would make this, an experienced TTRPG consultant or editor with knowledge of the industry would make this so much better. I agree. I think we're all on the same page here. It's a really interesting RPG. I think the artwork is so pretty that it makes me want to find out more. I mean, we didn't touch upon, I know, Marcus, you were looking at the lore stuff for this earlier. It sounds like, oh yeah, I love Zelda. I would like to play in this game like this. It's just such a shame. A lot of it is upfront. So I wonder if, I mean, again, I'm just going to look. I'm not going to read into it too much, but like, okay, see the Outer World stuff here? That is, like, what's that? That's 18 pages total in terms of lore and setting. That feels like a complete mismatch with all these rules and all these characters. Like, we don't get... I think that's the thing. I think that what people are selling it on is a really cool setting, and we have to wade through, like, nearly 300 pages of rules and stuff before we get to the setting. I think the setting of the Outer World should have been first. I think you want to get people grasping that. Why should we play it in this setting rather than making your own? You know, that's the key thing here. And we didn't even look at it. And a second edition of this would be great. Well, again, they might be making more expansions, etc. And like I said, the PDF is only out just now. But I guess why I'm talking about it like this is because, like I said, when I saw this come out, oh gosh, look at the time. Okay, I'll finish up my thoughts. So I think, it is interesting. I probably wouldn't read more about this. I'll be honest, like, it's about 500 pages. I don't have time. Would I run a game of this? Unless it was a really good introductory scenario, which it didn't look like it came in at all. I don't think it had anything. No, not necessarily. Unless these have adventure hooks in the Outer World regions, I probably wouldn't play it. I probably wouldn't run it. Maybe they're going to have an expansion book. Maybe they're going to have a scenario book. So maybe that's the thing to it. Like, again, I think it's selling off vibes, which is good. Like, understandably. Like, it feels very much like... the reason I sort of mentioned the vibes of it, I'm thinking of, like... And I would never put anything in this particular category, but, like, let's face it, the Neopet RPG Kickstarter... I mean, sod that. Like, don't... If you've supported it, please don't support stuff like that, because that is just building off nostalgia and then not even having a system, not even bothering to give any mechanics out for what that's intended. I think this is also playing on nostalgia a little bit, and people who are fans of anime and video games. But I think one thing really, really in its favour is the layout of the stuff. Sure, the text itself, as always, could have had a bit of a prime over. I love the imagery. I think alt text would have really made it pop as well, because then it would be, because that's the thing, if all the imagery would go from this book, I think then you're left with the text, which is, it can be a little bit convoluted, a little bit dense in places, right? I love the layout. I'm not a fan of 2 columns plus. I really struggle with it, but I think they've done good in terms of, like, breaking up the paragraphs. It's just a shame there's a lot to it. I love this sort of thing, like the stuff. We didn't have a really what these were anywhere. Presumably, again, I appreciate it's probably mentioned somewhere else. So it just made me wonder, maybe I don't have the final copy of it. Maybe there's another introduction somewhere, because it doesn't start off. The other thing that normally it starts off is, like, credits saying, like, this book was written by so and so, and all that sort of thing. We usually have that after the first page, so there's that as well. Steampunk syndrome, style over substance, just my opinion. I have the exact same thing about steampunk. As one of my ex-partners used to say, put a cog on it. Steampunk. It's just such a shame, I think. That I want this to be better. You know what I mean? Like, I love the amount of work that's gone into it, and it just needed another look. Like this, the quick start info, perfect. Like, you could cut this all up, like, just copy it, print it out, and give it to people as, like, cards. This could be, like, how RPGs just now, they're, like, being made into cards and having card formats. Imagine having several, like, okay, you're a champion, you're, all that sort of thing. Anyway, and I do like this, like, hyperlinks on the side. I think, the hyperlink stuff is a bit weird, I'd say. Like, I would just, again, make it in a different colour, and maybe fully do the words and stuff like that. It's a bit tricky on these ones, but definitely on the... on the table of contents is there. Yeah, I want the second edition. Yes, I agree. Well, there you go, folks. I hope that has been a very interesting, again, as we always say on this, on Too Long Didn't Read, this is always a critique rather than a criticism. I think there's some really interesting ideas here. It doesn't feel like just vibes. There's definitely stuff here that gets me excited. I just don't think it's been executed as well as it could be. So if you wish to check out Break, it is available on the backer kit. as an RPG. It is an RPG as a PDF, so you can go check it out. And also follow along. I think I posted the website up later that you can go check out new exciting news. As I said, it was nominated. Let me just look at it. What did it say on the website? Actually, let me show you guys. Sorry, I've run over badly, but I want to show you. So this is the website I put in the chat earlier. I'll put it in here now so people can have a look if they would like to. Yeah. So again, where you can buy. Oh, there's a. No, that's I was gonna say. It's a tutorial adventure. Maybe I should have looked at that. Gosh darn it! But you can get the PDF here, and you can find out more about reprints and new products as well. Again, no alt text coming up here. So again, you can have a look there. Maybe join. If they have a Discord. Oh, you can't see it. I'm so sorry. They have a Discord, Facebook, etc. There's again stuff here, and I think just because of the quality of artwork that's gone into it. It's something I feel very passionate about. And there's a dev blog as well. Interesting. So there's again lots of there's lore. Okay, there's loads of stuff here as well. But again, this is our first impressions of it. And yeah, like I said, I don't think I would play this game myself, but I definitely see ways to tweak it for my own purposes. So there you go. Thank you so much, friends. I appreciate. There we go. Hi. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate you guys. I think that was a very interesting RPG. Sometimes we go away and go, "What on earth have we just read?" But I think I wasn't sure. Like I said, I had not really read this RPG before coming into it, so I wasn't totally sure. And I've definitely gained something out of this. So I'm glad. Thank you for spending your early evenings, lunchtimes with me. I am. Let me do this. Fiona. You can find me on What Am I Rolling, which is a twice monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast where we do lots of different RPGs, systems, and we do interviews with game designers. We are... Ooh, what's coming out just now? We just had an interview go out with the wonderful Craig Duffy of Lunar Shadow Designs. He's a UK game designer and tabletop enthusiast, as he would describe himself. A very wonderful guy. One thing I really love about one thing I loved about chatting to Duffy, that's not his name, Craig, is he shared how he goes through and like sort of talks about the financial side of him being a tabletop enthusiast and creating games and how much it actually costs him and putting it out in a way that is not transferable, transparent, and because people don't necessarily talk about the financial sides of making games and what the actual cost is. And so that was really exciting to talk about that because again, we're all just trying our best with these things. So if you want to check out the interview, go check it out. Go check out lunarshadowdesigns.net. I think lunarshadow.net, I think, is the website, if you want to. I also do the DM's Book Club. So if you're like, Fiona, what on earth was this game? Check out the DM's Book Club. It's a weekly D&D RPG, D&D podcast where we talk about some Dungeons and Dragons and discuss how we might improve it for any game, like any story, essentially. Like, again, you've got a world full of lore. If you want to tweak it for your own purposes or make it better, absolutely do so. Yes, I think the only thing to say, we've got another... Well, the first thing to say, where is coming to is there's an announcement for where coming. It's going to be in a couple of weeks' time. It's the end of September, early October. I can't say anything yet. It's very exciting. I'm very excited to do so. But yeah, like I said, I can't necessarily talk about it just yet. So I've got to. If you're watching the socials and the things, I would very much appreciate it. And then when it is announced, share it. That is a. The VOD awakes. Hello, dang, missed the whole stream. Oh, Hatchling, no worries, my friend. I appreciate it. It is like 7 p.m. your time. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. What I was going to say was, so yeah, exciting announcement for where at the end of September. Oh, I'm all over the place now. September, where if people can look out for it, it'd be great, and share it. That would be super cool as well. Also, this week I think we've got another TTRPG. Too long didn't read. Which is going to be Thursday. We're doing Not the End. Oh yes, this is another Ennies one. I think that's why I put Break on there because it got nominated for some Ennies. So Not the End is a role-playing game that tells the adventures of heroes willing to risk everything they hold dear with an original game system called Hex Sys. So HEXSUSYS. Not the End, each hero is described by keywords placed in a hive of hexagons, each representing one of the distinctive traits. How the hexagons relate to each other within the hive creates bonds and makes each hero unique. Well, there you go, something a little bit different, hopefully. So that's going to be on Thursday. The timing of that is completely off on the thing, but yeah, it'll be 11 a.m. BST, no, 11 a.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. BST, as always with these things. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I have to say on that. Like I said, we'll be back on Thursday with not the end, which will be exciting. I guess, yeah, sorry, brain is switching over. Yeah, if you want to come check out what else I'm doing this week, I will be on the RP Geeks channel, RP Geeks D&D on Twitch, playing in some D&D Once a Hero, where we are playing like archetypal characters who have come back for one last job. I am playing a rogue who settled down and had a family and is now like a housewife, but has come back and has hell to pay. There's been some exciting developments in the last episode, which I've really much enjoyed. So come and check that out if you'd like that sort of thing. I think it's a really good table, really good GMing by Zach. We've got Ed Spence, we've got Emily Bates, we've got Sharmini Bundell, and me. So it's a fun little table. So come check us out there. That's all I have for today, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna find the end of stream button, and I'll see you all on Thursday for another one. Ta-ta for now.